Hey everybody, this is a quick look at the game Horrified. I'm not a horror fan, but this game is an excellent game. You can play from 1 to 5 players. I play a lot of my games solo, and this one plays very well solo. So let's take a look. So this is the box. It's really very nice artwork, and the quality of the components is really good. On the edges, you can see the different monsters on each edge, so the artwork is pretty neat. And I even like the back here. It's really pretty cool stuff. Just a really interesting little story. Thematically, it's very good. This is nominated for 4 Dice Tower Awards, and it actually won the Best Cooperative Game, I think. It also won the Best Theming, and you'll see why. I'll show you some more about that. It was nominated for, in addition to that, Best Family Game, and it was also nominated for Best Game of the Year. So as we talk about theming, I've taken everything out of the box and just want to show you. Look, even on the sides of the inside part of the box, it has the different characters, the monsters, and it's showing you, their history kind of. So each of the different areas has the different monsters. There's a total of 7 of them in the game. So here's the instruction booklet. It's really well done. It's easy to follow, easy to read, nice colors, very well printed. And even in the back, it has some very interesting things, about the characters and how to defeat them. The monsters, how to defeat them. So it's just really well done instruction booklet. So here's an interesting thing. When you open up the box, this is the back of the board, and this is the first thing you see. So that's really kind of interesting. And it actually turns out that this phrase right here, or this paragraph, is actually from the Frankenstein movie. Now, each of the monsters has this kind of mat that tells you how to defeat them. It's actually 2 phases. Just so you can see the size, here's my hand and here's regular cards, so you can see the size of those mats. They're very nice material too. So you can see this is the front of one of the monster mats, and here's the back of it, and it tells you the setup instructions for each of the different monsters. So here's the Wolf Man and the Invisible Man and their characters. I'll show you the characters a little bit more later. And here's Frankenstein and his bride. So that's actually plays as 2 characters. And then the creature from the Black Lagoon. And here you have Dracula and the Mummy. So here's the set of characters. We have villagers in the back, and then the heroes right here. Each of them has their own color. And the monsters, there's the monster figures. I'm using this card just to show you the relative size of things. And this is the terror tracker as part of the game. So you can see in videos, you might see in some of the reviews that these look like they were laying down. That was just probably easy to show things, that they actually are standees. So now the figure quality is okay. It's not great by today's standards, but it's equivalent to some of the Dungeons and Dragons board games like Castle Ravenloft and stuff like that. So they're pretty nice. Now the heroes are general types like a scientist or archaeologist or professor, but the villagers are actually, I believe, characters from the movie. Like, for example, this is Wilbur and Chick, and I think that's Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. So if you're a fan of those movies, you can look up the villagers, and they're actually characters in the movies. Now each hero has a badge, and they have a number of actions, and they have a special action. So this is kind of similar to games like Pandemic in the sense that they can do special things. I think the badge is probably supposed to be like this inspector, an official badge of that kind. Again, here I've got another card to show you the relative size of the things. Now, the interesting part of it is all of the components are very good quality. This is very thick cardstock with a very nice finish to it. It's the same kind of thing that the standees are made out of. They're made out of the exact same thing, as well as the other components I'll show you. So these are the other components that are used for defeating and tracking monsters. These are locations that actually go on the board, and they fit very well on, and have a nice thematic touch. Here are the dice. They've got 3 possibilities. This is a hit, and this gives a monster a special power, and that's of course a miss. And then there's 2 decks. There's a monster deck and what's called a perk deck. Here's what they kind of look like. Now, when I first opened up the box, I thought, oh, these cards are a bit thinner than normal cards. But they're actually very nice. They're made, I don't know if it has a plastic kind of resin or whatever, but they're the more modern type of cards, and they're actually fairly easy to shuffle. And they don't feel like they get bent like the older, thicker card stock. So this is actually a really nice set of cards. So I'll show the whole board in just a second, but there's one thing that I wanted to show is these overlays for things like the museum, for different locations in the laboratory. So for example, here's what it looks like without the overlay, just the board itself. Here's the overlay that goes there, and it just matches pretty nicely. The reason that you have these things is because for certain monsters to defeat them, you have to actually visit that location and perform some actions. But it looks really nice, and it helps you know where to go. So this is the basic setup, getting ready to play a game. I'm going to be playing my first 4 monster game. When you first start out, they typically suggest that you start with 2 monsters. I've played a game with 2 and 3, and now this is my first one with 4. And you can actually play solo. The solo plays exactly the same as the other one. They've just changed the rules a little bit, such as your terror marker starts at 3 instead of at 0. And you can just play with a single hero. In this case, I'm going to be playing the Inspector. So I'm not going to go over all the details on how to play the game, but in general, the goal is to defeat the monsters. In some cases, like for example, Frankenstein and his bride, you are actually trying to teach them to be human so that they can get married. And in the Wolfman, you actually heal him. So for each monster, the mechanism that you go through in order to defeat the monster is different. And it's really unique and fun. And so the basic idea is you're moving around the board, trying to help villagers protect them and get them to their safe place. They'll start out at one place of the board and move to another place. And of course, you want to avoid the monsters. They're trying to attack you. So the way the game flows in general is each hero takes a turn, and then the monsters take a turn. Then a hero takes a turn, then the monsters take a turn. So it's fairly easy to do, easy to play. So what are my thoughts about this game? I think this is an excellent game. If you like board games, good chance you're really going to like this. Now, when I first saw this game, the fact that it's called Horrified, I wasn't really very attracted to that. I'm a Christian, and so I don't really want to promote an interest in horror, but these are the classic monsters, and you're going around defeating the monsters, and it's the good versus evil type of thing. So it's not trying to tell you that evil is good and good is evil or any kind of thing like that. But the other thing is you can kind of say that this is family friendly in the sense that there's no blood or gore or anything like that. It's the classic universal monsters. So they're not something that would frighten little children. They're just attractive type of artwork. So if I compare this to games such as Arkham Horror, the card game, that is an excellent game, but I don't want to really play that much because of the kind of art style to it and kind of the emotional feel that is there. And there's lots of games that are like that. I'm just saying that this is more of a light-hearted type of game in that sense. If you like universal monsters or these classic type of monsters, you definitely ought to get this game. So this is the kind of game that plays quickly, it's fun, it's enjoyable, the mechanics are all very interesting, you can play it over and over and over again, and it's very easy to change the difficulty levels by playing against more or fewer monsters, by changing the terror track where it starts. So there's lots of ways that you can improve or change the difficulty level to suit your needs. And again, it does have that solo mode. That's kind of how I play most of the time. So again, I'd just say that this is a really fun game to play. And in fact, you can probably play it on the internet because all of the information is open. It's a cooperative game. You're all working together so you can see everything that's out there. And you can just show the person the setup and they can tell you how to move the monster or what they want to do. Once again, I just say this is a really good game you might want to consider. Hope you enjoy playing the game.